Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. We're just going to have a before look at my 4 conifers. The Bonsai Society workshop on Sunday morning this week has a talk on pines. Now I don't know whether that will include the likes of my larch and golden larch, doubtful, but certainly my Scots pine and more importantly my Japanese white pine I want some help and advice on. And if it's not forthcoming from the actual talk, then I can collar the guy afterwards and get very specific advice about my trees. So that's what I'm after. So this is just a look before the workshop, because the workshop could involve some actual work on the trees. It might be that the advice is to leave it till the spring, in which case there won't be any. This is my Scots pine. This is a Yamadori, so a collected pine. The principle of this is a windswept mountain pine. So weather coming in from this side sweeps the tree over that way. The idea being that I have 2 very distinct pads, which are less distinct at the moment, which is the problem I need to talk about, and then an apex that tapers over here, and 1 branch struggling against the weather and weather damage on the trunk. But what I need to know is what to do with this year's candles that have grown a reasonable amount, and they've obviously got their buds on the end. That's next year's candles, but that's going to extend the shape of the tree quite dramatically if I let those buds grow. So what I really need to know is, do I take these candles back almost to their base and try and generate buds much tighter in to maintain the shape, or do I take them back halfway? Or that's what I'm after. What do I do with these candles? So the what, and as well as the what, is the when. Do I do it now so that they go into their winter, during which they may well generate those buds that I'm after? So that's what I need to talk about on there. And while we're in there, we'll possibly do a bit of weeding. This dead branch down here I'm going to turn into a gin. So that will just be like this, a mirror image in fact of this. So whereas this one points upwards, this one will point downwards. So, but yeah, all the twiggy bits can come off and we'll just take the bark off and yeah, turn it into a gin. So that's that one. Now my false larch or golden larch is a deciduous conifer that I did take in last year, and we did some shaping on it, which it's now lost. It's grown very well this year despite the heat. The heat has caused a bit of frazzling on the very tips, and that's probably, given the heat and the amount of hydration needed to stop that effect, I doubt if it was capable of doing that literally. So the very tips have got a bit frazzled, but generally speaking it's nice and lush and green. But yeah, I'm going to have a little trim with that. My Japanese larch, again, that needs a trim. I've got a basic branch structure on that I'm happy with, although it's a relatively young tree, so we haven't got a nice big thick sturdy trunk yet, but you know, coming on. And then the most important thing that I need to discuss when I get there is my Japanese white pine, endearingly known as my birthday tree, because one of my viewers actually gave me the money to get something nice when I visited Windy Bank Bonsai Nursery. She said, come back with something nice for your birthday, so I did. Now this is, it's had what I think was a reasonable branch selection. There's a video on that if you look back on the channel, where we actually took quite a few branches off and decided where the apex would be and everything like that, and which would be the front. But what I need to know is I need to get the tree bigger. So the ultimate goal is this tree is at least half as big again. So I want it up here and out here. I want it bigger. How do I achieve that from now? So we've got this year's growth, which is healthy, good, plenty of it, nice healthy needles. Yeah, so we've got good growth, but what do we do with it now? Do we leave it alone and let it do the same thing next year with the apex, with the terminal buds on each of these new growths? So like in here, see there we've got 2 buds. Well, that obviously the idea would be to let those grow next year, yeah? And then we'll get 2 shoots where there was 1. Same again, you know, there's quite a few buds tucked in here. So I want those buds to grow to make the tree bigger. But do I just leave it alone and let those buds grow in the spring? And this desperately needs a weed. Get this flipping moss out. I've got a little trick for that, which I'm going to do as a separate video if I don't pull it all out at the workshop, because I'm bored. Anyway, that's my 3 conifers. If it's not pouring with rain on Sunday, which the forecast says it will be, I'm not looking forward to taking 4 trees, one at a time, down the alleyway, out to the front and loading them up in the car along with all my tools and everything if it's pouring with rain. But I don't want to miss the talk, and I don't want to miss the advice at this time of year for my conifers. So if I get wet, I get wet. Trouble is, I'll get wet at the other end unloading them into the hall, and then I'll get wet again loading them into the car, and they might stay in the flipping car till the next day. No, I can't do that. Yeah, so I'm not looking forward to getting soaking wet. Maybe there'll be a gap in the rain. I mean, the amount of rain we've had doesn't go with the forecast. We were supposed to get heavy rain and thunderstorms last night, passing over us and then moving up country. Well, they've done all the thunderstorms and everything up country, but they didn't do it here. Not a light. It was damp this morning. We'd had some drizzly light rain, nothing more than that. And that's just the way of this part of the world, really. This area along the south coast just keeps missing the rain. It goes either side, or doesn't start until it gets past us. It's just, you know, we really are short of rain. When you look at the rainfall forecast, if you look at the centre of the south coast, you know, sort of an area around the Isle of Wight, you'll see that there's a lot less rainfall in that area. Don't ask me why, I haven't got a clue. Anyway, that's just a quick before look at the conifers before going into the workshop on Sunday. And the talk, obviously, which is the bit I don't want to miss. And we'll have a look. If I do any work on the trees, we'll have a look at them next week. And either way, I will do an update on what was said in the talk and the workshop and what I plan for the trees. Is there any work going to be done at the workshop? Is there any work to do when I get back in the immediate future? Or is the work just going to be talked about and left until late winter, early spring, or even early summer? This is the information I need. So, and the trouble is, you can look it all up on the internet, but you get so many varied answers, and the answers can often depend on which country the video's being made in, which country the person in question is growing their trees, because that can make a hell of a difference. So. Anyway, I'll update you next week with what went on Sunday morning, and we'll go from there. So thanks for dropping by, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.